Alright, welcome back. It's our second video of our Swimbait, soft plastic Swimbait series. So in the last video we looked at all the different styles of Swimbaits, at least all the ones I've got in my collection, distinctive styles. Here in front of me I've got this huge variety of hooks and rigging styles for Swimbaits as well. So let's go through and start looking at these specifically. So down this side, my left, your right, we've got just your basic Swimbait hooks. So those range from a belly weighted hook with a screw lock keeper, this is a Mustad KBD hook. Notice there's no keeper on this thing, and instead it's got a like a bait keeper on the shaft of the hook. So you run this through, get this through the soft plastic, and this keeps the bait from sliding down the hook while you're fishing it. Same idea. This is also a Mustad hook. What you'll notice here is you got the insert, an insert piece here, and then a weight on the shank. Two things of note with this style hook is this in and of itself is a little bit unique, and then the weight on the shank of the hook will slide up and down the shank. So you can adjust the way your bait falls on a slack line by moving this weight. So with it down here, the bait will tend to fall more horizontally. If you shove it up towards the nose, up towards the eye of the hook, the bait will tend to fall a little bit more nose first. So it just gives you a little bit of flexibility. So here we've got two different hooks by Trokar. So these are both Trokar Swimbait hooks. This is a Trokar Swimbait hook. This is a Trokar Mag Swimbait hook. So what we'll notice when we look at these two different Trokar hooks is, for the size of the hook, how deep and how long the belly of this hook is. So we'll notice that the gap itself, or the belly of the hook, is the same size, but in the case of this hook, it tapers off fairly sharply. So this has got a fairly long taper to it. So it's not as effectively deep for as long as the hook is, compared to this hook that has another real pronounced bend here. So the belly of the hook itself is more of a U shape. In the next video, we'll again look at why that's important. All right, next in line here, we've got a weighted hook that's basically just an extra wide gap hook with a belly weight on it. So not as necessarily as easy to rig, but these have their place. All right, from that we'll go and move into more of our jigs and Jigheads styles. So this is a Mustad bullet weight. Notice the head of the bait looks like a bullet. Big things to look for in this type of bait is this kind of jig is some kind of keeper here to keep the soft plastic from sliding down the hook. Here we've got one that installs on a screw lock. And then this is the same type of bait, or same type of jig head with an insert. Big difference between these two, other than size, is you'll notice that the point of this hook is directly in line with the eye, so this doesn't give you a whole lot of bite and a whole lot of gap. Whereas this hook here, you'll notice that your line tie is well below the point of the hook. So you've got this area here to help you with your hookups. So that can be important. Just a real basic bullet head. Kind of a more, just a real small basic head. Of note here is the fact that the line tie comes up at a 60-degree angle. That can affect the action of the bait, and also it can affect your gap, depending on the kind of bait you're throwing. Most people, or a lot of people, don't think about it, but your basic jig head, this swim jig head, so this is a NewTek Elite, can be used for on a swim bait. So if I'm worried about staying weedless. I've got a brush guard here, but I'll also be running an open hook. So my hook set, as far as trying to drive the point of my hook through plastic or worrying about the gap or plastic filling the gap, isn't as big a deal. Likewise, I could go to just your traditional swim bait head or a swim jig head. So this is a Warbaits jig head. It's got your normal fiber brush guard and a good keeper down here. I've had real good success with these Warbaits jig heads. So it's just a real basic mustad swim bait hook head, or swim bait jig head. Just like you throw a, like I said, we were looking at swim jigs. Okay, fine. Let's go to a full skirted swim jig now. Same principle applies. You've got all the benefits of a jig, to include the weedlessness of a weed guard, and then you've got the added bulk of a skirt as well. Now this is kind of unique. We've seen pivot heads on football jigs. This is a pivot head for a swim bait. So this is specifically the owner pivot head. This is a big one, 1/2 ounce. And they make this in 2 different versions. They make this, which is built on an extra wide gap hook to be completely weedless. If you want to run this as an open hook, they also make this with a straight shank. I don't have one of those handy right now, but the nice thing about this is it gives you the extra weight of this jig head, but since the head is not rigidly attached to the hook, it allows the swim bait to have its full range of action. The swim bait itself, the action of the swim bait is not trying to overcome the inertia of the jig head. So this can swing, it can roll, it can do whatever it wants, completely independent of the jig head. And likewise, when you get the fish hooked, you can't easily use the weight of the jig head to help them spit the hook. Right then from there, we'll go to our underspins. So a lot of guys run these on flukes. They're nice on swim baits as well, and I've had great success using these on swim baits. So jig head, standoff on the bottom, and then like a spinnerbait style spinner on the bottom when it's on the swivel. I don't remember for the life of me who makes this. I just remember I got it from Tackle Warehouse. So that's a basic one, and then this is kind of like the Cadillac Mercedes-Benz version, if you will. This is a Picasso double barrel. So two wires coming down here, tungsten beads. These beads actually act as ballast weights to keep this thing running upright, and then it's got twin spinners down here. This is Picasso, really fantastic detail on this. Double keeper, just a really high quality underspin here. So we talked about hooks, we talked about jig heads, and then this is one of my personal favorites, which is the hybrid of the two. So this is an owner flashy swimmer. So got our little screw lock, we've got a nice jig weight down here, and then on a standoff you've got a swivel and a spinner. And we'll look at rigging this in the next video. So, alright, I almost forgot one other style of swim bait rigging option, and that's just your straight ball jig head. So you can buy these as shaky heads, or you can buy them just regular ball jig heads. But what you'll notice here is it's got a nice prominent keeper on it. And that's really what makes this particular setup great for a swim bait compared to just a shaky head. There's all your different types of hooks and jig options and what have you for rigging a soft plastic swim bait. Check out the next video where we'll kind of match the two together. We'll talk about some considerations and we'll look at how to rig them. And until next time, cheers and tight lines.